Oh, welcome everyone to my UK dividend portfolio update. Update number 2, actually. The first one was well received. Thank you so much for all the support, comments, subscribers. It's been brilliant, and I'm glad to give a new, fresh perspective on the whole portfolio side of things, especially considering I'm a dividend growth investor with this portfolio. Now, it has seen a massive jump. We have jumped from 500 to 1300. I actually sold a few things on eBay, and it pretty much funded most of this. Now, obviously, it won't jump like this every month. I wish it could. But in the meantime, I want to show you all the exciting things. The background research that I've been doing, I've been looking at companies flat out. I mean, I've went from 19 to 24 holdings, and to be fair, that was a stretch. I didn't want too many holdings. However, the balance that I've got at the moment, I'm really, really happy with it. Now, it is going to be ever changing. It will change considering market conditions and prices and the likes of all that. And we don't know what the future holds at the moment. It's been a bit of a roller coaster the last few years. So without further ado, let's jump straight into it. Now, it is down £28.53p, down 2%, but completely ignore that. Whether it goes into the red or into the green matters not for a dividend growth stock. It's all about the long term. That's what I'm thinking here, and that's what I will be showing you. So let's get right into it. Okay, so at the top of the bunch is again Airtel Africa. They are down 9%, but they were actually down a wee bit more than that, and I bought into it with extra shares. I will be picking them up. If they keep going down, I will be picking up more because they're a wee gem that I have discovered, and I have done extensive research, and I have high belief in them doing well. We also have Diageo, the drinks company, again featuring a solid 7% that's well deserved. Now, most of the companies here have been reduced to 5%, and I've actually based it into different industries, and a lot of thought has went into it. But Diageo is a high dividend growth stock. It's year on year, very impressive. In fact, if anything, the value is very reflective of how good a company it is, and it is near an all-time highs at the moment. We have Imperial Brands, because no dividend stock would be without a solid tobacco stock. Big dividend pair. I was going to split it 3% Imperial Brands and 2% British American Tobacco BATs. However, after more extensive research, I've decided just to stick to Imperial Brands. I also don't want to diversify too much within industries. I try and just pick the best one. You know, you don't need to diversify all the time. Now, this whole portfolio was pretty diversified, but again, I just want to keep it as simple as I can, and I'm just explaining the thought process as to why it is currently sitting at 5% target. National Grid, again, another great dividend growth stock. They will be staying at a solid 5%. Greencoat UK Wind was actually represented much lower on my first portfolio. It, of course, has been upgraded to 5%. I just need to buy some more shares to get it up a bit. New contender that has entered, Binzel. Now, Binzel it's a massive giant that operates in the background of things. It's not a company we'd really see, advertised everywhere. They mainly do disposable tableware and about 1 million other things for different industries, from processing machines to outsourcing. They do loads of things. The tableware is probably, a low ball for them, but once you see them on Dividend Max, let's have a wee look here. Here they are, Binzel. I have a video on them, and to be honest, it's a very underrated video the more I've looked into this company. As you can see, their dividend growth year on year, we're talking in the solid 10% year on year. Recently 5%, but again, you can't be bad to that. In the future, this could be a fantastic addition to the portfolio. Now, they are, again, another company that are rightly so at a near all-time high. If they come down, I'll be buying more into them. A commenter actually mentioned this to me, and that's what made me go back and reconsider Binzel featuring in this portfolio again. And to be honest, I'm going to buy into them if they keep going up, and I'm also going to keep buying into them if they were to dip at any stage, because I love the company. They're just great. Royal Mail, again, featured a lot higher. It was near 10% at one stage. Having another look at the company, I still have a strong feeling for them. I use them all the time, so they are a company that I'm very familiar with. And in terms of future growth, I am very confident in them, so they stick at a solid 5% too. Now, here is Smith and Nephew. Now, they're the ones that do all the medical equipment. Again, great dividend pairs, and their future growth prospects look great. So, again, they stick at a solid 5%, and they're down 4% at the moment. But again, they were actually down 12% when I bought the other half of the shares. You'll see in the portfolio tracker what new ones I added. New contender, we have Tate & Lyle. Now, Tate & Lyle, I must say, I did pinch this from the compounding investor, so thanks for that. He had it in his portfolio, and I decided to have a investigation into the company, and I must admit, very impressed. I learned so much. They are not the people that do Lyle's golden syrup or Tate & Lyle's sugar. They actually offloaded that entire business in 2010, and if you're in the UK, you probably see that sugar and that golden syrup. You know it very well. They don't own anything to do that. They actually specialize in background ingredients that they provide. Some crazy statistic, 96% nearly of everything, all your food in your cupboards and everything have ingredients that came from Tate & Lyle or were researched or something to do with that company. Rather mad, isn't it? Let's have a look at them in Dividend Max. And again, from 2006 to 2021, these guys, they haven't missed a beat. Now, there has been the odd year they haven't increased at all, but they're increasing year on year. It's fantastic. I love those prospects. I love their numbers. They had a special dividend, to be fair. I wish I was holding them. They gave out nearly a pound, about $1.20 for each share. That insane. I wish I was smarter and had them in a portfolio a lot sooner. Although I only started last month with this one, so it wouldn't have mattered. But still, back to this. We have Relax again. I just an informational company that have great dividend prospects that are growing year on year. Yet again, you'll notice these all have one thing in common. Most of them, anyway, are consistent dividend growth stocks. That I can't stress that's how much I love them. They're just the kind of stocks I look for, and there isn't too many of them, but the few that there is are mostly sitting in this portfolio. We have Synthomer, now another chemical company that, well, actually it occupies the only chemical company that I really have in this portfolio, and it sits 5%. It's down 15%. There was some bad news given out against their profits, and it has dropped. However, through another commenter, I actually found out they used a lot of their profits last year to acquisition and purchase a business in the US to kind of diversify their own products and strengthen their own operations, which again, looking deeper into that, I thought here, they've dipped, time to buy more. That's just my mentality on what I see in companies that I want to invest in, and they will be staying a strong contender. Maybe in the future they might be bumped up a bit more closer to our tail, but in the meantime we'll leave it at that. I have Shell. Now, they occupy my only energy stock that's in this portfolio at 5%. Most people hold energy stocks between 10 all the way up to like 25-30% in some portfolios. However, they are pretty high at the moment. And while Shell does have a decent enough track record with BP and paying dividends, I decided to go for Shell. Again, it's a bit like the Imperial Brands versus British American Tobacco. They're the same industry, and sometimes holding both is a good idea, but for me, I decided to just go solely for Shell. So, we have Unilever, as I mentioned, with Diageo. The two of them kind of sit as a 10% pairing. Unilever, pretty strong for the dividends, but I don't know, just from looking through them, I remember I didn't want them to be sitting at 5% with Diageo at 5%. I leant more towards Diageo, so Unilever took the 3%. Vodafone sits with Airtel at 3% to kind of bump up the telecoms. This is more of a UK home one. I use Vodafone, so again, I'm sure you've all heard in the last video, I'm quite attached to them because of that. We have HSBC. Now, HSBC is obviously a massive bank. Some of you may use it, and they feature 3% of the portfolio now. Banking is 5% overall. It's actually sitting down here. I have 2% in Barclays. I actually was reading them on the Monty Full website. Really, really good website. I will start linking it in future videos for just general advice. But it's hard. You gotta get the advice sort of when it's published, when it's fresh. Because if you get like an old article, which I read in one of them, and then the article, basically the predictions were completely wrong. So there you go. That's a bit of a lesson. Don't always look at the date of articles if you're ever looking, not advice but commentary on a stock. Don't ever go for a really old one, because you might realize, oops, they might have got that a bit wrong. But yes, Barclays, again, they're up there. I think they're between 3 and 4% per year. So they're a new addition to the holdings. Now, Persim is actually up 7%. I think they were up near 12% in midday there. They got some good news announced, and then I also seen some article about them getting into NFTs. They're like the sort of educational giant here in the UK, and I think across North America and all, but mainly here in the UK. They feature down at 2%. Now, what are all these 2%? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. So let's start from them. Burberry Group. Burberry Group are paired with, who did I pair them with? Were they paired with Persim? I think they're paired with Persim in my wee pie chart. So we'll explain the rest of them. GSK, I wanted a wee bit of GSK. They would normally have featured a lot more, but because they kind of spun off part of their business and their dividend at the moment, we're not too sure as to what way it'll go. They're currently sitting at 2%. Now that means they are in reserve. They could rise in percentage depending on the future and how things go. These are mainly companies that I just have in reserve. I like them, but I don't like them enough for them to take a much bigger proportion. I will, of course, in future offload maybe certain companies, but at the moment, anything that's sitting at 2% are kind of getting trialed to see how they go with the news within the next 12 months or so. Admiral Group, I wanted to dip into insurance. There was other fantastic ones. There's Direct Line, there's Avia, but I decided to go with Admiral. Now, the reason for that is I use their multi-car, and to be fair, it is an absolute dream to be able to, use the multi-car policy, because I have a work car and a normal car that I use, and it's a lifesaver when it comes to finances, instead of insuring just 2 cars. I think other companies probably do it, but the Admiral one was so handy, so helpful, so I assumed, well, not assumed, I like them as a company. So they're here. They pay a decent dividend as well. I actually think it's pretty high at some stages. But there they are, sitting at 2%, few shares. We have Tesco's. Tesco's were featuring a lot higher, but looking deeper into them, whilst I use them, whilst I love them, that sort of side of things, it's going to be shifting within the next few years. So I'm keeping it at 2%. I'm going to keep an eye on them. And I will be investing into Tesco's, and we'll just see how they go in the future. Land Security Groups, again, another one. I want to keep an eye on them. Their dividends a bit questionable because of the way property and all works. If something was to happen to the property bubble in the next while, Land Securities could suffer a wee bit. So again, they're going to sit at 2% and they'll remain there for the foreseeable future. Persim, I love them. They massive dividend payer, but again, it's so the questions of how sustainable their massive dividends is very questionable, alongside the housing property bubble that we don't know what's going to happen within the next year or so. So I'm not featuring too high in the portfolio with them. And then at the bottom again is BHP. You all know that from previous videos, the mining industry was the most questionable one, but it sits in the portfolio because even still, commodity prices will rise and fall, but as long as I'll have a wee bit of a hand in the pie, I'll be able to reap some of their special dividends, some of their normal ones, and because they won't take up a massive portion of the portfolio, rise or fall, I'll buy them when they're low, and that's just the way it'll be. So let's have a look at the portfolio tracker, because we all love to use Dividend Watch. I'll have a link below. Of course, it is a referral link. If you do use it, I think you get 3 months free premium, and then so do I. So that's kind of the way that works. Obviously, if you are doing that at all, be sure to cancel the direct debit if it's anything you aren't going to use. I actually recommend that you use the free one. The free version of this is perfect. You don't need to use any direct debits. You just use the free one. I think you can only put 10 in, but again, it might actually teach you not to diversify too much. The 24 holdings, I think, is average. I think 20 to 30 is sort of meant to be a good diversification. But then again, it comes down to depend on industries and whatnot. There's so many questions you could ask. You know, do you want 3 companies? You could watch some Warren Buffett video on YouTube anywhere and be like, no, just pick 2 or 3 really good ones. And that's fantastic. I love that. I could probably pick 2 or 3 of my favorite ones here, but because I've done my research, I do like all of them. It gives me access to lots of industries, and therefore industries rise and fall. Some will rise, some will fall, and hopefully it'll balance out, you know, over time. But it's all about the dividend growth. That's all I'm about. So let's see here. Portfolio value, yep, 597. We have jumped obviously up to 1,354. This graph over time will tell me an awful lot more information. Let me see if I change it to a month, nah. Over time, this graph will get more useful. So let's see here. Dividend income has increased to £73.84, which is more or less doubling and a bit from last time. Still, dividend yield averages at 5.6%, although that'll change because a few of the companies issued special dividends, and Dividend Watch, I don't think, accounts for that very well at times. So we'll keep an eye on that and see how it goes. Let's go down and see what all calendar dividends. Let's see our best month. Our best month will be next July. Next July will be £11.54. So we're currently averaging, since it's £72, that's £1 every 5 days. I like to think about it that way. I like to quantify it that way. That's sort of the best way for myself to quantify dividends. September, we're not getting any of August because we missed the boat on most of them. But what we will be getting is £4 from Royal Mail. It'll be paid in October, and all the ex-dividend dates were August and September there. So let's see. Today was Relax's one. We're going to get 47 pence, 19p, and it's totaling about £5.99 for October. And then in October, we'll be getting about £3.12. So all good things. And that sounds pretty good. Let's look at the transactions and see what all I picked up at what stage. Now, I am being both opportunistic and also just getting the pie right. Because some of them, they will rise, they will fall. If they're down 1% or up 1%, I don't really mind. I will just buy a share if the money's available to put it into the overall pie. Let's see here. We've got Synthomer. I bought 10 shares. This is actually just today. A share of Persim, Imperial Brands. I picked up my Barclays today, my Binzel just today. Added more to National Grid, and then Tate & Lyle was also added today. There you go. And then the 29th, bought more Synthomer. That's when Admiral entered the scene. And then just buying 1 or 2 shares here and there just to balance everything out. I haven't sold anything as of yet. If I do sell anything, it will be obviously spoken about. Let's look over here to Aggreko UK Wind. Again, another great growth stock that I've got. Binzel, as I said earlier, another great growth stock. And Tate & Lyle, again, annual dividend rate is looking really nice. In fact, I would say everything that sits at 5% here, or more or less all of them, Relax, Tate & Lyle, Smith & Nephew, Binzel, Greencoat, National Grid and Diageo, the vast majority of them that you see there have like a consistent dividend growth for at least the last 10 years. So that's just fantastic, and they will be the main drivers behind this portfolio. Now, the beautiful thing is things are going to change. I'm never going to look at the capital returns because see if we're deep in the, well, say deep in the red. And I hope to never get really and truly deep in the red. If I'm really deep in the red with this portfolio, there's bigger issues at foot instead of just this portfolio because of just how diversified it is. But yes, if the markets, in a few cases, in a few places in the market, we are near enough an all-time high. I'm sure if you've been on YouTube, you see all the doom and gloom, and I've actually been on YouTube and looking into the invest, and there's some people that just it's just all about clicks, to try and sell you something, about dividends, about everything. And it's kind of disheartening at times to see. So I'm hoping that this channel brings a wee bit of a difference. I will be continuing to do the dividend videos. I have a surprise for you coming tomorrow in the form of a new portfolio. It's a small one. It's mainly just for fun, entertainment, and a bit of educational purposes. And we'll have a lot of fun with that. So I hope you look forward to it. It's called the Trainwreck Portfolio, in case this video is rather old and you just want to have a wee look. And you'll notice it in one of the playlists. But yes, we'll have a lot of fun there, lads. Thank you, lads and lasses. Thank you for watching as always. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Is there any companies you want to throw into the mix, advise, and mention to me? I'm always up for hearing what you have to say. It's actually fantastic. I've learned so much in 5 or 6 comments from you guys and gals. It's great. So thank you for helping me, and I hope I can provide a bit of entertainment and assistance to you. And I'll see you all in the next portfolio update. It will be the 4th of every month, so if you want to tune in on the 4th, it'll be great. So I will see you all in terms of this portfolio in the 4th of September. We'll see how we are, see what we've added and what we've bought into, and hopefully we'll see a few dividend payments at some stage. See you then.